Welcome to my live stream, live from Bangkok, Thailand. And today's Red Pill news top story is how short guys can't get any women. And specifically, this article on Daily Mail that says it's brutally unfair. But so many women refuse to date a man under 5'8". And now I'm going to go over this article one by one, every little bullshit thing that she said. And this article was written by a woman, surprise, surprise, specifically this sexpert, Tracey Cox, which is ironic because she doesn't seem to know much about Cox, and I'll get back to that in a second. And this article makes tons of outrageous statements like men under 5'8" are fighting a seemingly unwinnable battle against a relentless foe, female height preference. Here's another one. Height bias is a very real problem in the UK and other Western countries, and it's having a devastating effect on men. All right. Like I said, we're going to go over many other statements and I'll show you guys why that has nothing to do with reality. Speaking of which, why don't we get back to reality for a second, where a lot of Western women don't spend much time in, so we'll be able to talk freely. There are a couple of things I want to mention why this whole height thing and how, short guys just have no chance with women anymore is complete bullshit. So there are two things. One, let me tell you why this whole concept that short guys can't get any women nowadays is bullshit. And I'm going to do it by telling you what your mother probably told you when you were a little child. Get off of social media and go play outside. And when you do, why don't you stand there and observe? Let's say 50 tall men and 50 short men, and see, do the tall men always walking around with a girl next to them and the short guys are always by themselves? No, it's usually pretty equal. But what about those women that the tall guys are with compared to the women that are with short guys? Are those are supermodels and the short guys are just with whatever's left? No, as a matter of fact, I can even argue the other way. So you don't need research or experts like to see with your own eyes that the reality is that your height has nothing to do with whether or not you're going to get a girl and how good looking she is. It is just a reality. And by the way, you can do that every day if you want. Just stand there and observe, and you will see with every day you will realize how stupid that idea even is, because your own eyes will train you that the reality is that height has nothing to do with your personal life or any other type of life, by the way. In a second reason that I wanted to share it with, because see, I'm a short guy. I'm only 5'8", which is short in America. Now, I'm no longer short now that I live here in Thailand, but I was short for most of my life. And I never knew that I was short. I never knew that I was supposed to be having trouble with women. And you know who drove me into that delusional state? It was the women who I was dating. I never had problems dating good looking women that I wanted, and including tall women. Just dated one in June. I'm 5'8", she was 5'11". And every time, by the way, I asked these women before meeting them, say, I'm shorter than you, like you're much taller, especially in heels. And every time they replied with, so what does that even mean? Correct answer. So I had no clue I was short my entire life until I started seeing this bullshit on the internet where essentially it belongs, because there's absolutely no truth to that at all. At all. Now, I know I'm also allergic to dumb hoes who have no idea what a good man is. So maybe that's why I don't come across these women. But why would I complain if the women who think that height is more important than education, character, hard work, what kind of family you come from, whether or not you have bad habits, your previous history with other women, your relationship with you. If they think that all of that is nothing compared to how tall you are, thank you for filtering yourselves out of my life. It's kind of like women with tattoos, right? I always say this. I love women with tattoos because they save me so much time, right? I don't need to waste my time on women with tattoos, and I can visually see it. Stay away from that girl. Why would I complain about that? Just like why would I complain about a few women who think that height really does matter? It doesn't. So this is just, I'm talking about reality, right? Now, okay, now let's jump into some quotes from this article. And this is the bullshit, and this is the biggest bullshit of it all. Why? How should I phrase it? This is the biggest scam of it all when it comes to, oh, short men can't get women. Because, as it says, shorter men have a far lower match rate on dating apps. Most women set a minimum height of 6 foot for potential matches. This is why this is bullshit. Western women are not using the dating apps correctly. They're not. What they're doing is they're not swiping left and right on the actual preferences feed where this setting would take effect. They're looking at the feed of all the likes because they have so many where this preference never takes effect. So they can set their preference all they want. That's just not what they're working with. And why would you not want that anyway? If a woman thinks that height is that much more important than anything else, like your character and how hardworking you are, how good of a man you are, why don't you want to filter those women out in the first place? But that's not what it is. So this stat is absolutely fucking useless because that's not how reality works. And this is what you guys need to understand. Stop having women, and this article was written by a woman, dragging you out of reality into this la la land and gaslight you. Don't be pussies where it's like, oh, really? Oh, really? First of all, by the way, uh, why would you be listening to women in the first place about what they want? They never tell you the truth. They never tell themselves the truth. So when a woman says, oh, I want a 6 foot guy, otherwise, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Have you ever asked a girl what she is looking for in a man and then realized that five of her ex-boyfriends were really the opposite of that? So who cares what women say they want? And by the way, this goes for guys as well. A lot of guys will say, well, what kind of girl do you want? Well, I want a 25-year-old with big boobs. But you're with a 39-year-old with double A's, like, which is fine, by the way. That's no problem. I'm just saying that what we want is not always what we actually decide on when we're looking for a real partner. The big boobs are not as important, just like the height is not that important. All right. Now let's go over some of the things like so in order to write this article, she decided not to base it on much of research, which is obvious from the article, but she just interviewed a bunch of random women. And like I said, asking women about what their preferences are about dating is fucking stupid. You will never get the actual data that you want. Okay, so the this quote says, "Women say they feel safer with a taller man." Okay, now you can see the problem already, right? Women think that their feelings is essentially the reality. As a matter of fact, they just don't distinguish between the two anymore. This is why we have so many false accusations against men, is because women truly believe that you don't need to have evidence, you just need to have feelings in order for something to be true. Now, let me give you two examples, okay? Let's take me, a short guy, 5'8", and a 6'2" fucking bodybuilder, and let's put us in the same situation. We're walking down the street with a pretty girl, in a dark alley, and there's five dudes with a knife who essentially want to attack us, okay? Now, a woman would feel apparently safer with the tall dude, but I carried a gun in America. I thought it was kind of silly not to carry a gun in America. I recommend everybody after the last couple of weeks to get one and get training and be able to protect yourself. But I digress. So the tall guy is gonna have no chance against five dudes with a knife if he doesn't have a gun. But most guys don't, right? And then me, you will not be able to take advantage of me when I lived in America and had a gun. I don't care how many of you. I have enough bullets in my magazine to defend myself and my girlfriend, right? So this safety thing is so fucking stupid. That's not how we do no longer combat in these situations. And another thing is safety is not just a guy who can fight off somebody attacking you. That happens pretty much not very often, if at all, to most people. Safety is actually when the man decides that they him and his girlfriend and future wife will live in a safe neighborhood, and a woman would drive a safe car. That's the safety. The safety is also not always physical, it's financial, right? Because if someone's attacking you from inside, your health, you want to make sure that the man thought of that you live near a good hospital with good doctors and have good insurance. That's also safety. Now I understand that there's a lot of dumb women out there who don't understand what a good man is. As a matter of fact, I think most women are just really, really bad at picking a good partner for themselves nowadays. And I'm talking about Western women mainly, right? So what they feel about what's safer has nothing to do with reality. They feel a lot of other stupid shit about what a man needs to be, in order to think that the man is a better partner for some reason, you know. So let's move on to the next one, okay? So this one, it says it doesn't help that some research suggests short man syndrome is a problem. What fucking research? I looked in this article, I looked for the reference in research, and I just don't see it. I just don't fucking see it in the article. But I'll tell you what the research actually does have. Most of the research about short man versus tall man is done by surveys where everybody reports their information on their own. It's a volunteer. How would I say it? These surveys, when they conduct the surveys about whether tall men get all the women and short men get nothing, this is a self-reporting data. So if anything, I can argue that tall men just lie a little bit better, right, about it. But this article has no research whatsoever in it. So let me move on to the next one. And these are some of the quotes that men and women that I don't know where she found this trash, but apparently some women. Okay, one of the women says, "I'd rather be alone forever than date a short man." Okay, listen, if you're an extremely dumb bitch, which there are plenty of, I guess, good luck with cats and antidepressants. I mean, I don't know what else to say. But a lot of women, once again, they will say one thing, especially publicly, right? And then if you look at their history and what they're actually going to do, is going to be something completely different. As a matter of fact, if you interview a lot of women or talk to a lot of tall women who are with shorter guys like me, they will tell you, like, first, I never thought that I would date a short guy, but this good man showed up and I like good men. There are very few of them left. A lot of them went to Thailand or home play computer games. So I'd rather take and I don't have a problem with it. By the way, I think a short guy, tall girl couples look fucking sexy. I don't mean I want to fuck them. I mean, they just look so awesome because both have to have confidence, right? The taller woman would have to have confidence that, yeah, this is my man and I'm proud of it. Same thing with a guy, right? And confidence is sexy. I honestly give compliments when I can to couples that I see when a woman is taller than a guy. And like I said, I love dating taller women. I just, went out with one, 5'11, I'm 5'8. That was great. I love walking around with a taller woman. It's amazing. The feeling is great. And like I said, these taller women never had a problems with it. Never. Anytime I asked them about this, they had no fucking clue what I was talking about, why this would ever be a problem. Because why would it be? All right. The next one says, it felt weird walking beside him. What the fuck does it even mean? First of all, why did you choose to go out with a shorter man if you feel weird? And maybe he feels weird that he's walking with a fat chick or an ugly chick or a chick who doesn't know how to dress or doesn't know how to wear heels or has tattoos. You know what I mean? Don't, if you feel weird about something, just don't do it. I and what a weird words to even use. Next one. Oh, this is from the article also. Look at any forum like Reddit, and you'll find endless discussions with shorter men talking about how inadequate and unhappy they feel. What are you talking about? I am part of the manosphere, and I certainly read a lot of articles in many different subreddits. I genuinely don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I only have one friend in my life, and any man that I've known who's also my height, 5'8", considered to be short in America, and he genuinely feels insecure about being short. Yet the quality of women, borderline models that he gets on regular basis, makes me laugh when he complains about being short. Again, if you just look at the reality, if you go outside, you will see just with your own eyes tall men certainly are not getting all of the good looking women. It's just not true. Just not true. Okay, so they did find a guy who apparently does feel, it says, I'm inadequate. I'm 24 and I have never been on a date, let alone had a girlfriend. It's because of my height. I'm not earning enough because of my height. I don't get women because of my height. Okay, I can tell you the problem with this guy is not his height. Okay, it sounds like he even blames the fact that he's not earning enough money on his height. I guarantee you that it has nothing to do with it. He's just a loser who has no self respect, who has no self confidence, who apparently has not even tried, because you would go out on a date if you have balls to approach women. If you improve yourself and look better and have a better job and work harder, I, there are plenty of women who will give you a chance. Now, if you're going for a supermodel and you're an ugly fat dude, yeah, you're not going to go out on a date. But if you're realistic, there's no reason for a 24-year-old not to ever go out on a date. It seems that the height is not the problem, is the fact that he plays the victim here all the time. And that is the problem. I'm surprised the Sexpert who interviewed this guy didn't get to the bottom of that mystery. Okay. Uh, Now, this one is actually true. It says shorter men earn less. And I did look into it because the author of this article didn't. But most research does show that for every inch of height, a man earns extra 3%. Now, most of this research is done on self reporting when they gather data. So technically, you can also argue that taller men lie better about their salary. But let's pretend that this is true. So if you compare someone like me, 5'8", and a guy who is 6 foot, right? 4-inch difference, that guy is supposed to earn 12% more than me, right? Now, 12%, is this really going to move the needle that much when it comes to women analyzing whether or not you're a good provider? Yes, maybe you would be able to provide a heated seat package in the Toyota Camry we're going to buy our future wives. But, that is not enough percentage to in any way, I think, swayed anybody one way or another if you're trying to prove you're a better provider. So even the very little few nuggets in this article, in this bullshit article, that are technically could be true, have really nothing to do with reality. Have nothing to do with reality. All right. Statistics show short men often make better husbands. Okay, now listen. Out of all of this bullshit, right? That this article said how women don't want short men. Listen, if you're going to rely on any statistics, right, on any fact or any statement in an article, and you're a woman looking for a husband, this should be it. This should be. Listen, if you're looking for a husband, and apparently statistically short men make better husbands, well, aren't you a dumb bitch for setting in a dating app for 6 foot and over? Like, you're literally saying, I want as low a quality of a husband as possible, right? And then why would you want those dumb bitches in the first place? Now, I don't believe that this is even true, because how do you measure what a good husband is in the first place, right? So I'm going to be, yeah, I don't want to be a hypocritical asshole here, because, just like I dismissed all other bullshit statements because a lot of times you cannot even measure them, this one is also a bullshit statement, even though it's in totally opposite direction. Um, so in reality, guys, in reality, like I said, please go outside. Please play outside with other kids, and observe tall men and short men and see that none of it is true. And stop listening to social media. Stop listening to social media. All of that is based on this survey, right? Or whatever, a bunch of surveys that, oh, women said 6 foot, on the dating apps. This is just it's bullshit, and you know it. Frank in the chat room says, I'm 190 centimeters, so you are almost 6 foot, right? Okay, you know what, I'm gonna Google 190 centimeters is how many feet. Ooh, you are 6 foot one. Yeah, so even more than 6 foot. All right, I know I live in a country where it's all about the centimeters, but I don't always convert it well. I'm 173 centimeters, and that's 5'8". All right, and he says, I found my wife from Ho Chi Minh City, which is in Vietnam. Yeah, I'm not really sure what your point is, but I'm assuming it's that you ended up not going for American women who are so crazy, for tall men, right? Yeah, listen, and I would be interested to know if you felt like you have an edge over shorter guys, or like, whoa, I all of us, taller guys are so much better off with such better looking women than shorter guys. Like, I wonder if you've ever noticed that. I'm going to assume you haven't, because like I said, I've done this. I have done this myself, where I went outside and I love to people watch, right? And as this was kind of making its way, this bullshit, onto the social media, and a lot of red pill influencers picked that up for some stupid reason. I just, and this is my problem with red pill influencers like Myron and Pearl. Like, they say a lot of shit that is not backed up by any data, right? The other thing, they talk about how women are the ones who are always initiating divorces. If you look at those numbers, even though, first of all, they actually say the wrong numbers, but the correct numbers are in favor of women filing for divorces. But they don't ever fucking dig into those numbers, how they obtain, how the surveys are done, and what the reasons for the divorce is, right? Like, if a woman was cheated on or was abused, should we really count that on as against the woman who's filing for a divorce, right? Because their point is always like, well, women are just never happy. Well, women who are not happy while they're getting abused or being cheated on kind of have a right to not be happy. That should be taken out of the survey, right? And also, this concept of a happy marriage, look how many marriages end up in divorce. You know how many marriages ended up in marriages, unhappy marriages? To me, if you got a divorce, at least you're giving yourself a chance for, brighter future. But if you're staying in a shitty marriage, that's even worse. I've always said this. I think the the failure of marriage is not at 50%. It's at 90%, because you have to count the unhappy marriages, because an unhappy marriage is a failed marriage. Just because you didn't file the paperwork, and a lot of people don't, for many stupid fucking reasons, like, oh, this is good for the kids. No, it's not good for the kids to see their parents not fucking love each other. And no, you're better off going getting other relationships where at least you have children have a chance of seeing what a good functioning loving relationship is. Or men don't want to get a divorce because they're going to be financially completely fucking devastated because of American and European laws. So this is what I have a problem with the red pill influencers, that just the data is on our side, and yet they still go after stupid, unreliable data that's not real data, that it's not true. This is what I hate about it, right? This is just like, and this issue was brought up by mainly the red pill influencers, and then the Sexpert, like what, Courtney, not Courtney Cox, that's a different Cox. What's her name? Tracey Cox, right? Tracey Cox. and then they take it and run. It's ridiculous. Anyway, listen. By the way, just in case, I know some of you watch me, regularly. So I'm going to just do the news stories this week. Um, because I really would rather, dive into each story and break it down and do all of the research, which literally takes me the entire day, than, spend time, doing the profile of the day and other things. So I'm going to go with this for about a week or so, because I feel like I can just dedicate more time to a story and then, answer questions and whatever, because otherwise, I feel like I'd rather just do one. And the reaction videos, I love doing them. I might just do them just kind of a separate thing. So just FYI, this week I'm just going to dedicate this live stream to the top stories, and then we'll see how it goes. There's already, like, my queue is full for the news stories for pretty much the entire week, unless something big happens. Which, by the way, speaking of that, I hope you guys, I know it was like stressful week for a lot of people who followed the news in America with Charlie Kirk, and I know everybody got their opinions. Hopefully, everyone's got their opinions out. Hopefully, you've mourned. Hopefully, you've said what you gotta say. If you liked him, hopefully you made peace with whatever. If you didn't, at the end of the day, I hope everybody can agree on the fact that this should never happen in America, or anywhere in the world. Violence is really not the answer, shouldn't be the answer. But I feel like, listen, we've spent a week talking about it. you know let's start moving on. And I got to tell you, by what I see on social media and the articles, I am not having that much hope for America. It sounds like what happened was exactly what I thought was going to happen. The right was going to blame the left was going to blame the right. No one is really saying, hey guys, maybe we should fucking cool this off, right? Maybe we should stop hating each other for what we think about politics, and but that's not what happened, and that's not what's happening. So I guess I'm just even more happy that I do no longer live in America and have to kind of deal with this in person. And a lot of my friends are telling me how the stress level was already up there with all the ice and all of the killings, and now this, and it only adds to it. But I hope people will start moving on. Like I said, I think everybody had a chance to say and watch on everything that you want to say and watch on social media. you know the investigation will continue. We will probably find out real details down the road and not today. And fuck all of the speculations that all pretty much turn out to be completely wrong. Let's just see how it develops. So, but for now, let me know in the comment section if you're watching this in replay, and I will see you tomorrow live right here at the same time. Peace. If you want to ditch modern women and move abroad for more traditional relationships, go to themillionmanproject.com, take my most comprehensive course, and change your life.